committees and our departments move, working with Lori Barnett to get our teachers and our curriculum on board with embedding our new standards. So,
Great.
That's it.
I wanted to thank Doug. I can vouch for him when he said he can talk for hours on this topic, because we definitely did that in the education program. I don't know, 2 or 3 hours on this, and he answered a lot of detailed questions, and he went through quite a number of evolutions of this document here to share with you each of those different areas. We'd be interested to hear what kind of comments the board has.
Yeah, actually, quick question, Doug. So, how much utilization of online courses is there currently?
We have, and I'm going to go off the top of my head, but I believe we had in the fall 13 or 14 students enrolled in VHS, and I believe we have 14 this semester.
And where do you see that going? Do you see any trends there?
It's been pretty steady. There's a couple of kids who might have taken it thinking it was going to be an easy A, and they found out that it's not. And but when working with our guidance counselors, we've tried to weed those out. So when we've had 14, we pretty much stay with 14 for this semester. We've had upwards of 21, 1 or 2 semesters, but for the most part, we're in the roughly about 15 kids per semester taking it.
So do you think there's an opportunity to make greater use of that, or make sufficient use of it?
I'd like to see, I think there's a possibility we could expand our online offerings, not just for specific curricular areas, but I'd like to take a look at how we can use online learning for our homebound instruction, for example. How can we utilize that and deliver a quality program for our homebound students, as an example.
Do you want to talk a little bit about what EduSeer does for us? I mean, I know you mentioned it briefly, but if you could expand on that, I think that would be helpful.
Take that one. Lori worked more with EduSeer than I did. I worked more with virtual high school.
Well, in all fairness, Christine Abrams really took a look at that for us. And unlike virtual high school, EduSeer is a clearinghouse for a wide variety of courses. So virtual high school, as good as it is just a few courses, whereas EduSeer really takes a look at a great many possibilities for our students. So in answer to your question, Mr. O'Connor, I see the possibilities 3 to 5 years as being really exciting. As option 2 gets more of a, is out there a little more, I think that our students will be able to take more courses, do many exciting things that, as our budget prohibits us to hire perhaps more teachers to teach more courses, this would be a great opportunity to expand the offerings.
We've had a couple kids too who, because of a schedule problem, really could not get into a specific course, even though it existed at the high school. The one I specifically am referring to is the accounting. It was an accounting 2 class, and a student was able to do that online, and it worked out very well.
I have another question along the same lines. For the kids who take the virtual high school or EduSeer classes, do they do them in school? Do they take them at home?
They do it. They have access to it 24 hours a day. We assign them a period a day where they go to the library, and that's their period assigned. And we actually reserve computers for them in the library. So they do the work there, but they can do it during lunch. They can do it during study hall. They can do it, and a lot of them do it at home.
The thing that worries me about that is I wouldn't want to go too much to the extreme in that direction. I mean, you see that problem in business now where people have lost the personal interaction. So I wouldn't want to see too many kids losing that classroom interaction, because you get a lot out of that.
You're right. I don't disagree, but I also will say that the virtual high school experience is really and truly built on a collaborative approach with the students. They work in teams, groups. If they don't engage with other students, they will not succeed in virtual high school. So I can, yeah, very much so.
I have a technology planning question. You were talking about a lot of different technologies, 2 of them being smart boards and wireless technology. And you mentioned on the where we've been and where we're going, that both of them started in the elementary school. And I'm wondering why in the planning process we bring the new technology to the elementary schools
Actually, it's been both directions. The smart boards started at the elementary because we saw that already in the planning process, taking a look at the smart board implementation being a part of the video backbone, being attaching to our video network. And we already had that at the high school. We already had the projectors and that video network at the high school. Trying to get the fiber installed at the same time that we're looking at the implementation, we had the question, do we move projectors into the elementary and then smart boards? No, because the smart boards are the projector as well as the smart board. So that was kind of what drove that one. We already had that. The smart boards really were an extension down to the elementary level of the video network with some additional, with the smart board capabilities added. Now we're going to bring that back to the high school as well.
And wireless?
The wireless was really, it came from some initial laptops that we had, Macintosh laptops. They were the first ones we had in the district. And it was the Mac side that really had the first access points that we trialed in the elementary level. And they succeeded. But we didn't have a lot of application for it. We didn't have a lot of laptops for it. But that's where we first tried it. And then we just took it from there and expanded it all the way, all the buildings all at once.
That explains why elementary first, though. I don't get why.
Well, we didn't have access points available to us when we first tried it. There was the Macintosh operating system. It was the Mac hardware that worked with the first access points. We didn't have that on the Windows side when it was first implemented. That's where it first came out. So that's where we tested at the elementary level, because that's where the hardware was.
But you can move the hardware to other places. You don't have to.
I'm sorry?
You're confusing me. I mean,
The Macintosh computers, the laptops, and the access points, they were the ones that were out first. There was nothing on the PC Windows side. So when we tested it, we were able to get a couple of them. They were $150, the access points, something like that. And we trialed them with the few laptops that we had in each of the elementary schools on that platform. We couldn't trial it at the high school unless we brought laptops, the Mac laptops, over to the high school. But that wasn't the medium that we had installed at the high school. We had Windows machines at the high school. So that's why we tested out those access points first at the elementary, because that's where the hardware was. That's where that first came out.
okay, I'd like to suggest for the future, when we bring out new technologies, since the high school tends to have more complex educational needs, we might want to start some technology within the high school to be able to capitalize on what they're doing.
Well, I think that's where we went with the projectors and the video backbone.
Okay.
Doug, you mentioned tonight about bringing computers into the class for more sharing of technology, like joint assignments. Where do we stand on computers on wheels, like for the high school and for other schools?
We walked with that and didn't run. I'm glad, because it worked out some logistics in terms of, something as simple as how do you assign out the computer lab, or the CAL, the computer on wheels. How do you get it back? How do you meet the timelines between one period to the other? How do you secure them? And what rooms are appropriate to have these in, because we have those one-arm bandit desks. Is that really safe for the computers? We took a look at those type of things. Our usage is increasing tremendously in that. All of our schools are using the CALs now. We've already fielded some requests for additional mobile laptops for our students to use. Especially at the elementary level, because they only have the one computer lab. But we're finding it very useful for our middle school as well, using it in the centers, the 7th grade house centers, especially 7th and 8th grade house centers. So the demand is there. We're continuing to use it more. We're trying to now embed some of our professional development, trying to focus more on less of the web services and word processing, and using those for more Web 2.0 type of applications, multimedia applications.
How many are in each school? Like, how many do we have in the high school, middle school?
Middle school, we have 2 CALs. High school, we have 1. They're all in the library, centered in the library, and 1 each at the elementaries. Anywhere between 25 and 30, depending on the school.
And our plan is to get how many?
Right now, we're just evaluating what we have. We don't have anything now in the planning or